Okay, let's get you more perspective now on the state of the U.S. economy. I'm joined live via Skype by Nirupama. She is Assistant Professor of Business Economics and Public Policy at the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. Thanks very much for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Sean.
I want to start by getting your initial reaction to the November numbers and the report we just heard. With President-elect Biden set to take office next month, what will his greatest challenges be?
I think his greatest challenge will still be containing the virus and healing the economic fallout from this pandemic. This was not a good jobs report. As Giles just said, this was a report that fell below expectations and was much, much lower than even the previous month.
And he also, John talked about teeing it up in 2021, looking for better economic figures, looking for a better 2021. Is that realistic?
I think it's contingent is the best way I could describe it. Right now, I think in Washington, there are active discussions underway about bringing more relief to the economy. We're hoping that legislation will actually be passed this year. It'll probably be a small virus relief bill. And I think any reason for optimism is somewhat hinging on this bill passing and Congress coming to work in January ready to pass more legislation. Because the truth is while the vaccine is on the way, it's going to be some time before enough Americans are vaccinated that our economy can get started once again.
People getting out there feeling comfortable again. Let's talk about holiday shopping season. It is sneaking up on us, and it is always so important to the retail sector, which has just been hammered, all these brick and mortar stores. How does it look this year? Is there any bright hope out there on the horizon?
This jobs report and October as well has actually shown us a little bit of how the economy is sort of coping with the challenges of COVID. So this time of year, as you said, is traditionally a time we see retailers hiring floor workers, register workers. Retail really sort of beefs up this time of year. Of course, with shoppers not in the stores, they're not really doing that this year. Instead, we've seen some employment growth, where there is some, in areas like warehousing and drivers of transportation, of package transportation firms. So that's sort of where we are seeing some hopes in the labor market, and that's the sort of holiday season we probably have ahead of us. It's where more consumers are buying online and having things shipped to themselves and not actually out there in the stores.
And what about other economic data that we should be looking out for? What does the Beige book tell us about the economy, where it is now, and perhaps where it's going?
The Beige book is one way in which we can measure how regions in the U.S. are differing in their current economic status. So the most recent edition of the Beige book has told us that, while some parts of the economy have fared okay in that third quarter, other parts are starting to deteriorate. Particularly the upper Midwest has been suffering, and from all indicators since the Beige book came out, these factors are actually getting worse as that data was gathered in terms of the virus leading people to not actually be participating in the economy.
We talked about the important job that Congress has ahead. Let's talk about how that plays into the labor markets, because any way you slice it, it has been a brutal year, still no stimulus package, and it is no secret that Congress is horribly polarized right now. Do you think they can put politics aside, and how critical is it going to be to get hundreds of millions of dollars freed up for businesses as well as individuals?
Sean, you're exactly right. It's critical. Since February, we've shed 22 million jobs. We've gained maybe half of those back. There are still 10 million Americans out there, out of work since the spring, and their unemployment insurance benefits are starting to run out. They're facing that in coming weeks. Their lifeline is fading away. Like you said, Congress has been horribly deadlocked, but I think this bad jobs report, much like Wall Street felt, does give us a bit more impetus to pass some legislation. I think it is very hard to read the current labor market data as telling us anything but this recovery is faltering. That sense of faltering will hopefully prompt Congress to act. There's a double legislative problem right now, one being the need for virus relief, the second being the need to fund the federal government. Funding runs out on December 11th. There's currently discussions of actually pairing the two bills together and passing something that will fund the government through the fiscal year as well as provide some virus relief.
I want to get back to Biden's economic team, what it's going to mean to confront the virus head on, making it a priority, and will that work hand in hand with the economy, especially where consumer confidence comes into play? You saw the market shake off the bad jobs figure. Basically, is there hope somewhere that there's light at the end of the tunnel?
I think when it comes to the economy, It is absolutely first and foremost a public health policy issue. We have to contain the virus. We have to help people stay home, and we have to help them sort of wear through this difficult time with economic support. The Biden economic team, I honestly can't think of a better group of people to be leading the country's economic policy during this economic moment. Many of the members of this team, like Jared Bernstein and Cece Rouse and Janet Yellen, were all in policy positions during the last recession. At a time when American jobs are faltering, we need the people who've seen the last time we saw something this bad up close.